Welcome to Peaceful Power Project, a podcast dedicated to physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being. Today, we're talking to Elma Talbott about healing, movement, and the ways we adapt when life changes. My guest shares her experience with diagnosis, recovery, and the role of community and running along the way. I am so grateful to welcome Elma here. Um, I first met Elma at a really cool trail running film festival event, and I'll rewind a little prior to that. I actually met Elma's husband first as part of the trail running community that I was pretty terrified to immerse myself in as someone like new to running slash trail running slash Tennessee. Couldn't have met a more friendly and welcoming human. And when I found myself alone in this like environment, I keep trying to put myself into uncomfortable situations. I approached Elma's husband and Elma, and I could not have been more welcomed by her. So I'm just like, and the moment I met her, I not only, yeah, it was even before I knew any of this story that we're going to have a conversation about today, but I decided I wanted to be her friend. So I'm just very grateful to have her here today. I did go ahead, of course, as you do in the 2025's year we're in, go look at your friend on Instagram to see like, I mean, I just felt the vibes. I go off of like vibes right away and I'm like, whoo. But then I learned more about her story. So it was kind of like not congruent, but it happened at the same time. I was like, I want to be your friend, but I want her to be a guest and have a peaceful power conversation. How do I do this? We actually had an opportunity to meet as friends first for coffee, which was like a great shared language of love, coffee and talking and meeting new people. Um, but yeah, it's just such an honor to have Elma here today. And I welcome you and also invite you to share about you in any way that feels aligned. So, not the whole, I mean, anyway, actually, I'm not going to tell you how not to, any way that you wish to like introduce yourself to our community at Peaceful Power Project.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you. What an intro that I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it just makes me so happy and so grateful that you have come into my life and that that you even had an opportunity to meet my husband and how he is with the trail running community. So yeah, I'm Alma, Nashville native, a wife, mom, calendar juggler, professionally. I try my very best. And also a gym goer and runner and trail runner, and also a stage 3 breast cancer survivor.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And I thought I wanted to jump in and press record when we had our conversation when you shared, and this might be like an alternate route to like the first official question, but when you shared, because you had previously just this week been interviewed about your breast cancer journey, if that's an appropriate word, but experience, and the feeling of being like known as a breast cancer survivor or asked to like to be expressed in this way. And what you shared with me, and now I will tear up, is that like if you're in a position to help someone else who's maybe at like the beginning or like somewhere along their own experience, that's like a seat that you're okay taking, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
you had
of course.
shared that early. So how if we could kind of go back to your beginning, um, prior to being at this other side of your experience where you can look back and you can reflect and you can also be exactly where you are today. But I was wondering if you could go back and share kind of the beginning of your experience.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go even a little bit further back in my experience. There's a lot that goes on with it. So in 2023, I decided I wanted to do hard things. And that included something hard to me professionally and personally. Professionally, I wanted something more and more challenges in my work. And also too, that was the year I decided that I wanted to take on the Georgia Jewel. That's a trail race that is held every September in Dalton, Georgia. And I was newer to the trail running community. I had never run trail until September of that year. And but it's that same summer in 2023 when I found a lump in my right breast. And so I had my regular yearly physical scheduled with my primary, and I just waited until then to address the lump. And so she agreed that, well, you're at the age to get a mammogram, and let's go ahead and get that scheduled. But because life was happening, I was making some changes professionally and personally at home. It wasn't until December of 23 that I was able to get in for a mammogram. January 2024 was when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Initially stage 2, but through biopsies, they found out it was stage 3. And, during that entire time, naturally, humans, we get scared. And of course, I was scared and nervous, but a lot of what I was feeling, I had a sense of calm as well, mostly calm, nervous, but calm. And also this sense of purpose, but I just didn't know what it was. I remember sitting in the imaging center waiting to get a biopsy, and there was a lot of chatter around me, and the registration staff was trying to get stuff done for me. And normally, as a patient, I would get irritated, but something in me was like, no, they're just trying to do their job. They're doing their very best to get you in. And I honestly wanted to start laughing because of like I felt like there was a purpose for this all. And I just had to have faith and power through.
And reflectively, like thinking back to that, did that like I'm curious, just do you know where that came from? This calm or not reacting? What you initially said is like mostly it would be like a fear-filled, maybe anxiety-provoking experience. I'm wondering mentally if this was anything you had to like re not reel yourself in, but like do some self-talk or like really it was this natural essence that like was almost like a gift.
I feel like it was just this natural essence.
Okay.
And maybe in such a way that like even before the biopsy, I knew that Elma, this is what it is. This is cancer. And you either can choose to be scared or stand up and fight.
Okay. So you in that moment felt like there was this like almost like a choice, like we can go into this space. And so with that choice to go into the like Elma, you can stand up and fight. What did that look like for you? I actually in my I love like what you shared in a and I don't actually know how like public your social media is. You know what I mean? Like this could be
Yeah.
like for family and friends and whatnot, but how you did photos of your days
Mm-hmm.
of receiving treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like when I heard you say stand up and fight, it brought me back to seeing those images of you and like after receiving treatment, still in like a posture of like I'm fighting this. Always like super colorful, if I can like remember correctly. What else was part of that? Like, this is how we're going to go through this. Like, this is how we're going to experience this thing that is very real. Um, but this is how we're going to do it. What else was part of that for you?
I think a lot of my motivation was 'cause I have a daughter, and I didn't want her to, as much as possible, I wanted her to see me strong. I also wanted her to see the real side as well. Like I didn't hide everything. You know what I mean? And so, yes, you call out the word colorful. So every treatment day, I had a colorful scarf on my head. I always had my sunglasses on my head. I went in every chemo treatment, full face of makeup. You know, I just wanted to look and feel as human as possible and going in every treatment day with a smile. And I genuinely felt good each treatment day before the treatment happened.
Yeah, and that outside in, but also inside, inspiring like what you chose to bring to it. And then I did hear you just say like I did feel good at the beginning. And then what was I don't even know if coping or caring for how you felt after. So you just kind of alluded to the fact that it didn't like each treatment was it didn't end as you know, well as you showed up, right? As naturally it would be. But so
Yeah.
how was your self-care with that aspect, with the challenges that are very like real and normal?
Yeah. So a lot for my chemo treatments, we deliberately scheduled them first thing on Friday mornings. So that way I could take the weekend to rest. Really, Friday mornings, I'd go in, get my infusion, and I would leave the cancer center, the chemo center, very tired, exhausted. Went home and slept the rest of the Friday and most of Saturday mornings. But by Sunday, I was okay enough to go to church and be with my mom, take her to church, and it felt okay. And Monday came around and I would go to work.
And I'm curious just because this makes me think of like the word routine or ritual. Is that like kind of part of pre this diagnosis? Are you someone who has like a routine or a ritual or like something that kind of keeps you moving forward with rest, not just moving forward, right? Is that
Right.
part of like you and your like how you live your life in general?
Oh, yes, most definitely. My husband and I are very much process and ritual and schedule um, driven. And so we like rituals, we like things just so in our house. It's not always like that, but we try.
No, but I'm going to take that in as a lesson because the times where I get most like filled with like I will use like agitation, annoyance, impatience, and all of that is when I'm trying to go like beyond my capacity. So I'm yay that you get that like naturally and with your partner and everything. But I'm going
Yeah.
to take that as a lesson as well because there are times where like a really deliberate and scheduled rest, self-care, restoration is necessary. So
Yes.
I'm glad you get to be that way naturally. And I love
Yes.
to hear how it played a role in
Mhm.
the time that you went through your treatments. I want to move to or back and forth
Mhm.
to this time where you were saying like I want to try hard things. Um,
Mhm.
and then this was pretty in like similar timing with that.
Yes.
Would you share a little bit? I mean, if you're open to sharing a bit of the, it was the post about the Georgia Jewel that was like, I need to have a conversation. And would you share a bit about that and how like this decision came at a similar time? However, we have like the other side of the story, like
Yeah.
yeah, how
Yeah.
you
So
were
the
able to come. Yeah, I don't want to give it away. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So the you're talking about the decision to do the Georgia Jewel?
Yeah, like before you
Yeah.
like yeah, this is going to be my hard thing, but then the timing and everything. I would love to share that story.
Yeah. So the Georgia Jewel, I had been around them for around that race for quite some time. We're really good friends with the race directors. My husband David has ran the Georgia Jewel several times, the 18 mile, 35, and the 50. He has yet to experience the 100, but that's definitely on his bucket list. And they welcome volunteers. So if you're wanting to volunteer at a really great community, with a great community and a great race, I would love for you to come volunteer with us. And so one weekend, I earned my spot by into the 2024 race by volunteering all weekend in 2023. And I just wanted to do it because everybody I knew that I was close to did the Georgia Duel. I'm like, well, I'm having FOMO and I want to do something hard. I've never ran more than 5 miles or 3 miles on road and never did trail racing until that year. And so that was the race. I was like, why not? Why not? Um, and so I love that. I love that community. I really do. And that's how I landed on the Georgia Jewel.
And it was similar timing that you learned that that would not be your year of participating.
Very close to, very close to. I had thought that like when I was diagnosed with in January 2024, that I could still race in September of the same year. And my oncologist was trying to be optimistic. And the reality of it was no, this is not it.
Ooh,
This
I
is not
just
it.
when you just shared that part of it though, when you had an optimistic medical professional, do you think
Mm-hmm.
part of even the idea of it supported your treatment experience? I don't know if I'm just like jumping to that, but do you think that like having this thing to think about was a helpful thing?
Oh, most definitely. My oncologist was great. His team was really great. And with chemo treatments, you try to be very mindful because chemo treatments, that's chemicals entering your body, it's taxing on your body. So you want to be careful. I would ask almost every chance I got and ask them, is it okay for me to work out? Is it okay for me to go to the gym? Is it okay for me to go run? Because I really wanted to run. And he's like, you can certainly try running. I'm like, okay. I tried. It was hard. And that's when I knew I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. It's okay to walk. It's okay to walk.
And yeah, and so that's what I wanted to know during that period, what role did I will say like your movement practice, nature, because I hear you as a trail runner, which I mean, road
Mm-hmm.
runners are out in nature too, don't you know? But also like
Mm-hmm.
out of, trail, be part of nature. And then also if the running community played a part during that time as well. Again, if you as you weren't going out there and like doing the races and things like that. But what role did movement, being out in nature, and the running slash trail running community play in that period of your life?
Yeah, so getting out, like when I had enough energy to get out on the trail, it was just walking, right? It was hiking. And it felt so good to be able to clear my mind, get fresh air, and just be in and around things that made me feel human again, right? And I am so thankful for the trail running community. They definitely showed up for us. I remember they had asked David and I, my husband and I, what they could do for me and for us and our family. And I told them we don't need a whole lot. Meals are great, but definitely not a needed thing. But what I really would love is for you to make sure that David gets out on the trails. It's so important for caregivers to also have their time as well because they're thinking about a lot too. And so they definitely made sure that he was taken care of and he got out on the trails every Tuesday, Thursdays in the summer, on Saturday mornings. It was awesome. They were so awesome.
Gosh, I appreciate that so much. Just hearing that this is not like a diagnosis like this doesn't just impact you. It's family and partner as well. And
Mhm.
how in your mind, like one of the most beneficial things would be for them to embrace and acknowledge and like help his mental space during this time. So the
Yes,
fact that your mind went like right to caring for him and his mind is just beautiful, and I think sometimes like can be like missed in all of this, not in partnerships and relationships, but with the outside looking in as to how to help. How do I
yes,
help? Um,
yeah.
and so, yeah, thank you. That is really, really beautiful. Um, and aside from community, how did and getting out for these trail hikes, how else did you care for like your mind, your mental health? You shared getting like rest and designating that type of self-care time, but what were other ways that you were able to care for yourself?
Um, I know a lot of my friends that ask, what meal can we get or what can I do for you? And I'm like, can we just meet for coffee and just have a conversation? Just tell me about your day. Like, how's it going? And so, definitely trying to be with friends as much as possible, grabbing coffee, still going to the gym and working out what I could, asking for modifications where workouts were not as easy as they used to be. So, but yeah, that's what I would do.
Um, and what would you, I mean, everyone has their own unique experience. They have their own support system, their own like family. But if you were to share something that you've learned from your own personal experience with someone who's brand new, again, honoring like they're exact like they're a completely different person. But do you have any words of either support or reflectively things that you learned in your experience, or even different way of asking the question, what would you have liked someone to who's gone through this to share with you? Um, yeah, just thinking of someone out there who actually might be out there listening to this, um, maybe having somewhat of like this acceptance state that I heard you share about in the beginning, or maybe not.
Mhm.
What would you say to them as they listen?
Well, one thing for sure is that everybody's journey through this is not going to be the same. Everybody's going to experience or go through treatments differently. Um, I know that I am a stubborn, independent person. And one of the things I've had to learn during this time is it's okay to ask for help.
Mm,
It's okay to welcome help. Um, and it's also okay to push back. You know, if food is not what you want, but a cup of coffee with a friend is what you really want, that's okay to ask for that, right? Um, let's see. Don't forget about your caregivers because their mental health is important too, along with yours. Um, let's see what else. Give yourself grace. There's going to be times where you're going 2 steps forward and you might have to go 4 steps back, and that's okay. What else? You don't have to have the answers right away. You really don't. Advocate for yourself, ask the questions, uh, bring a friend or a loved one to your appointments with your doctors. So that way they can be a second set of ears. 'Cause I know and still until this day, I forget what I want to ask. Uh, but that's okay. I admit that I'm going to forget everything if I don't write it down or if I don't have that extra person with me. Um, what else? I don't know. Food's going to taste different. And that's okay. Find what works for you in this time and just have grace. Like, be forgiving of yourself. And you'll definitely, I feel like my perspective on life is different because I don't know how much longer I'll have, but I know that I want to try to help others. I want to do good by my family. And I just want to do the best I can.
Oh, thank you. I really, really appreciate those words. I'm going to have to like even watch back and listen back on this because that was incredibly powerful. And those are like huge life, really beautiful wisdom for all of life. So I really thank you for taking that question in. Um, so thank you. I do want to conclude with hearing the end of your Georgia Jewel. So here we go. This is the conclusion. So it didn't happen. So we volunteered. There was like, oh, these are my people, this is my place. And then
Mhm.
it didn't happen. Um, but then
But then,
I'd love to end with this. So can you
yeah,
share what happened? So
yeah.
you finished your treatments
I
and
finished my treatment. So I went through after a lumpectomy, lymph node dissection, 16 rounds of chemo treatments, 30 rounds of radiation. I picked back up on running in, let's see, January of 25, so this year. And I completed several trail races, several road races, and finally did the Georgia Jewel 18 miler this past September. That was hard.
which was your goal? Let me
It was my goal.
I
It was my
want to
goal.
do some hard things.
I wanted to do hard things and I totally did it. And yeah, so the entire time during treatments, I was picturing this one hill. It's at the very end of the Georgia Jewel Trail Race. It's called Mount Baker. Very steep, and about I think an eighth of a mile, 33% grade. Y'all are gonna have to double check those numbers for me because I don't remember. Hello, chemo brain. Anyway, so I pictured that hill because it was so hard. It's so hard. I've only walked up it once. It's so hard, so steep, but it's like it was very, what is the word? it was synonymous to my treatment. Just keep going, go up that hill. Once you get there, once you get to the top, you hit your goal, right? And so, yeah, in third weekend in September, we did the race. My husband, I made him run with me. He made that promise. He ran the entire race with me. Bless him. um, it was not an easy one. I struggled with ankle and arch issues the entire time. I will say that there were several times where I sat on the side of the trail where I had to rest, and that was okay. And I had a couple of crying moments, thinking, "What in the world did I just sign up for? Is this what I need to be doing?" And so, but I powered through. Finally met Mount Baker at the end of the race. Climbed up it. It felt like I was crawling, but I didn't. I think I can't remember. But yeah, I it was very symbolic getting over that hill and then running through the finish line. I had fellow dirt bags there cheering me on, and it just felt so good, so amazing. And thinking, if I can get through treatment, I can get through the Georgia Jewel. And I did it.
And you did it, and you
I
did
did it.
so many, yeah, hard things. Can we briefly, just because not everyone knows what the dirt bags are, and you
Oh
were
yeah.
just like, I had all these dirt bags waiting. Just a little a brief, like, definite description.
Yes. So the dirt bags are it's Nashville Dirt Bags. That is a trail running group here in Nashville. They run on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays at Smith Park in Brentwood and Thursdays at Percy Warner off the in the was it Deepwell Trailhead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to because otherwise, like, I don't know.
Man,
They'd be
there's all
like,
these
who are these
dirt
dirt
bags.
bags waiting for Elma? But anyway, and also they're amazing, so it's just great, like to share in case anyone's local. But yeah,
Yeah.
sharing how symbolic and just the metaphor of the hill and the race itself, and also to full circle the desire, like for this hard thing, and then to have life place an even harder thing after you
Mhm.
made the decision to have a hard thing, life placing this harder thing with and surviving and then going back to your originally intended hard thing and not only surviving but getting a medal, right? You get something and
Yeah.
you get a big medal of your life. So yeah, I love the full circle and all of the symbolism of that. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you want to share as we begin to close this conversation?
I want to share that I am here as an ear, as a reference, as a resource. If you or anyone finds themselves in this situation, I want to be here for you. I am here for you. Um, you're not alone. You're not alone. I'm here. Reach out. It is okay.
Thank you for that. And connection is truly everything. It's my intention for these conversations. It's my intention for the podcast is for connection and community. So I really appreciate just that last, well, everything. I appreciate I appreciate you. It's truly an honor to have this conversation this evening. Um, but I appreciate your openness to receive connection from others. And I just want to say thank you for that as well, for allowing, like, for opening yourself for that connection. So
Word.
thank you. And thank you all for listening to this conversation with Talbot, and wishing everyone peace, power, and presence.